Hi, sorry. My question was in regards to faith, and I don't know how to say this. Like, kind of, I don't want to say losing your faith, but you just feel dry, and you feel like you want your faith to be stronger, but you also can't find the motivation to get your faith stronger. You can't find the motivation to read your Bible and to learn more. And that's kind of the stage that I'm in right now. I want to take my faith serious, but I also can't find it in myself to do it. It's kind of a weird spot that I'm in, and I want to care more, and I feel like I can't get myself to really get in it. And I know I need to, and I know it's like the foundation of my life, but I'm just having a hard time.
Yep. No, I'm glad you called. Let me ask you, Brandon, just out of curiosity, I'm going to ask a couple of questions to kind of help you answer this question for yourself. Are you connected right now to a church family?
Yes and no. There's a church that I go to, and it's probably not enough. And my son does a preschool there, so.
I think part of it is that we are so multidimensional as humans, right? We're not just thinkers. We experience things with our senses. You are probably involved in some bit of work that gives life meaning. That we're created as humans to serve and to work in certain ways, and you get energized by your physical activity in the world. And I think sometimes what happens is this is for me at least, and I'll share this with you and see if it resonates with you, is that there are times when I can be really self-focused and kind of spiral into not a pity party, but where I'm just, I think the most boredom and apathy it starts to generate when I'm sitting still too long and I'm not in the game. And it's easier to act your way into feelings than to feel your way into actions. And so for me, sometimes when I'm not feeling it, I realize it's because I haven't been doing it in a while. For example, just look at it from a running perspective. Susie, my wife Susie's a runner. I run with her. I'm not a runner. I don't consider myself to be a runner. That's her thing, but I like to hang out with her. So I'm going to run because she runs. I notice, though, if I'm traveling a lot and I fall out of that running pattern, I could stay out of that running pattern, right? I mean, I could be very apathetic about my running schedule. If she wasn't into it, maybe we wouldn't do it at all. But what I notice is that when I get back on the trails and I start running, well, then if I'm doing that every other day and I'm not traveling for a sequence of, let's say, I take a couple of months off a year where I don't travel at all, and so if I'm in that period of time and I'm running every other day, well, then I'm not going to miss a day. And the more I do it, it's kind of like when you're into a diet and you're eating a certain way. It's like you don't want to break your diet because now you're motivated because you're actually in the game. You've got some skin in the game. And I think part of it for us as Christians is that if the extent of your Christian life is just your discipline about reading Scripture, well, then I can see how you could fall off that, right? But if everything that has meaning in your life is some expression of most people I know who fall into apathy, well, they're not serving anywhere. Now you could argue they're not serving because they're apathetic, or you could argue that they're apathetic because they're not serving. So I always look at it and say, hey, let's just try acting your way into a feeling before you try to feel your way into an action. And so now you can change everything about your life, not by changing your mind, by changing your calendar. So I would say get your calendar out. Look at your calendar. What you love, what you're obsessed with, what you worship, I can tell what it is from your calendar because it turns out it's what we're spending our time on. That's the stuff that really is our God. So I always think if you're starting to fall off and feel like I'm not sure that God is my God anymore, you need to correct your calendar. Because once you start to move into that, God's going to reveal certain things that are going to restore the passion to your walk. But if you isolate yourself, then you're not giving God the opportunities to reveal certain things to you. If you're waiting for God to come to you in a dream, it's time to get out into the world serving as God, as Jesus would have you serve. And as you do that, you're going to meet people, start talking to people, and you're going to see that your life is going to become more robust. So I always tell people when they're struggling with this, lack of passion, that it's really important now to act. I think it's sometimes true for me also if I get to be a little bit moody or depressed. I'm too self-focused. The solution for this is to focus on others. So that's where I think service is one of those greatest things that can move you from apathy to passion, also from being self-focused and kind of circling to looking outward and to moving forward, to get off the stick, to move towards something, is just get out and start. Act your way into the feelings. I don't know if that helps you at all, but I suspect that probably if you look at your life right now, you're probably not doing a lot. right? It's not on your calendar. You're probably not engaged in a lot. People who are engaged and doing this all the time can move past their doubts and their apathy. Look, you even know this from kind of the later interviews and statements of Mother Teresa, who we always saw as, I mean, she had doubts, or she had certain points where she had questions, or certain, but what did she do? She simply faithfully worked her way through those. You just serve through that. Just kind of, you get, if nothing else, you're passionate about the people you're serving. And it turns out that's when God reveals himself to you in ways that reignites your passion for him. So I would just say, at least to start, do something. Do something. Don't wait for something to happen. Do something.
I think you're totally right, because there's no set schedule I have for going to church or anything like that. I mean, I guess I hate to say it out loud. Like, I guess you could say that I'm pretty lukewarm, if anything. But I'm like hungry to not be. But it's like I can't get myself to take that next step and find that going to church is more important than, well, I got to do this one thing on Sunday, so I can't go this Sunday. Maybe I'll do it next Sunday. But I know that you're right. I just need to do it and not just read my Bible 2 times a week, but to actually dive in and take it more serious.
Yeah, that's a good point. And you're in an unusual spot, a good spot, because you're telling me that you sense something's wrong you want to fix. When you know you've really slipped into apathy is when it's not even on your radar anymore, right? It's like it's not even something you're thinking about anymore. That's when you know it's already something in your rearview mirror. But for you kind of feel this tension. And that tension it'll feel so good when you've overcome that tension, because you won't feel the stress of like, what you're really saying is that I'm not engaged anymore. But I bet you, for example,
Absolutely.
When I'm not engaged, I know if there was a way to record the number of minutes, of listening minutes, to each podcast, when I'm starting to check out for a season, I'll bet you my sports listening is way up. Like sports, not just like live sports, but when you find yourself listening to hours and hours of sports commentary, you got a problem, okay? Because to be honest, the event already left, and now you're listening to someone dissect the event or predict the next upcoming event. Come on, really? That to me is a sign that, okay, I'm checking out. I need to refocus. And I just know it's not a matter of trying harder. That's not what I'm saying. You're going to spend a certain number of hours doing a number of things this week. Just change the things you're doing, and you'll see that you'll have a change of attitude, right? It's not like you have to work any harder. It's just about reappropriating your time. What are you listening to? We get really easily distracted right now, and so it's a matter of just kind of reassigning those things. There is something right now that probably excites you. Ask yourself the question, why am I excited about that thing? Well, why does that thing excite me? That's a lot of it, right? What is it I've changed about the way I'm thinking about God that it doesn't excite me the way that still does? So I think a lot of it is 2 things I've noticed. When people are certain something is true, they are far more likely to stand in it in a crisis and to chase it when they are certain it's true. So sometimes the reason why we're apathetic is because we don't really know if it's true, and we think it's like true, like an opinion. And so who really cares? If we saw the urgency of a cure, if we saw that this was a cure, that's the cure for what's killing all of us, how we probably wouldn't be as apathetic as we are. We know it's a cure, but we kind of act like it's. Remember when Penn and Teller, the 2 comedians who are atheists, one of them said that somebody approached him backstage and was trying to convince him of the gospel, and although he thought it was a mockery, he mocked it. But he said, I at least respect the fact that this guy actually believed what he was saying. The rest of you Christians who say this is, the gospel is this thing, but then why would you not share it with me? Why would you, if it really is the cure for what's killing us, and it really is the way that we all can transcend this life, why wouldn't you all be sharing it with me? And the fact that this guy did, at least you can tell he actually believes it. He actually believes it's true. And I think sometimes that's part of it, is that that a lot of what we do to restore apathy with Gen Z, we would argue, is the 2 whys for every what we talked about in the first segment, right? When students have answers to those whys, they are far more engaged in the what. So I think that's part of it, is it in your life. But if you're listening to this show, you're probably already doing that. Now it's just a matter of stepping out and acting through your feelings. So I hope that helps a little bit.
It that did help a lot, and you were absolutely right that I do feel that tension because I know how important it is because it's changed my life for the better. I've only been a Christian for maybe, 3.5, 4 years now, but it's done immense things in my life and given me more meaning than I ever thought I could have. And so when I get into these periods, like right now, it's kind of, it makes me anxious because I'm like, okay, I can't lose this. I need this. I know for a fact that I need it, and that's what kind of gets me so much. And then I get my own way. So that's the problem. But your advice has been great, and I appreciate it, son.
Thanks, Brandon. I appreciate you.